Alright y'all, you're not going to believe this. I would have put it on video, but I was downloading the camera. It took forever because it was full and I don't really know what I'm doing. Anyway, it's Monday, December whatever, 13th, I'm guessing. I got this thing tapped out. This exhaust manifold. Remember how the bolt was broken off? Unbelievable. I can't believe I pulled it off. So let me tell you how I did it. And I did it without any fancy tools other than that tap. 5/16 tap or whatever it would be. I just got my little center punch. I don't even know where it is at this point. Anyway, I just got a center punch and I punched the center of the bolt. Then I got a little bit and I just drilled it nice and slow. Here's my center punch. So I punched it and it was a little off center, so I kind of angled it and kept pounding it until I got the punch pretty much in the middle of the broken bolt stud. And then I just drilled like an 8th, and then it kept adding the 32nd, and I just drilled my way up with these, like the increments on this, all the way up to, I don't even know what size it was. It was bigger than 3/8. It was some oddball size. And I just kept drilling up and up and up, and I got to where I was seeing just a little bit of thread on one part. Then I tried something that didn't work. I tried pounding a Allen wrench down in there and twisting it, but the Allen wrench broke. So I had to pound that part out. So anyway, I went and found this old tap set I had from ages ago, and it just happened to have the right size in it. So I just tapped the tap down in there a little at a time and kept spinning it. I broke my just a cheap pot metal handle by doing that, tapping it in there. It cracked this, so I ended up pounding a 1/4-inch flare wrench on that dude, and it comes off. I couldn't really find a regular 1/4-inch wrench, and this one was a little longer. So anyway, I kept spinning it and tapping it and spinning it and tapping it. Finally I got a little grab, and then I kept it really well oiled, and I just, if I felt the least bit of resistance, I just back up, and I would just keep going forward just a little at a time, taking a nice long amount of time to do that. I haven't gotten it back out yet, so I could feel some resistance. I want to be careful. Yeah, I'm going to be cheering before I need to. So anyway, that's how I took it out. That's how I put it in, just like this. Just any resistance, I just rocked it back and forth, because it is cast iron and all. But yeah, there it comes. There it comes. So I got this out. I was going to take it to a machine shop. I ended up getting it out myself. What I did do first is I ran that tap through one of these holes, other holes, to make sure it was the right size. Look at that. Feels kind of loose to me, but thread seal on it. That one it's threaded, but maybe the bolt's worn out. Maybe a new bolt will help on that as well. Yeah, I could say that threads are worn out on this. Probably have a hard time getting a new bolt in these. So I'll clean them all up with that tap. Anyway, it's just kind of a miracle. I'm just, wow. So the guy that was supposed to come Saturday or Sunday to look at my heads and also front end of my car, he didn't ever show. But he did email me the number for a machine shop, so I'm going to take my one head in there and see. Since I blew a head gasket, I'm going to make sure that the head is flat. See if it needs to be milled or ground or whatever they do. I'll have them check it for cracks, have them check it for flatness, and if it's fine, I'll just stick it back on. If it needs any work, then I'm going to drop it off. But I'm going to go do that in a couple hours. Anyway, that is just such good news. I really didn't think I was going to pull that off. And I did try to use this fancy bits, easy outs or whatever. Open it up and show you. I was going to use those, but none of them were, they were all too small. I've had this. This was expensive. It's $20-something little set there. So anyway, these old DeWalt bits actually did pretty well. I haven't been impressed with their like Phillips bits and stuff like that. But when you buy the drill bit, not those fancy sets they sell at Christmas time, don't buy those. Those are junk. But this is the specific little set that's like 20 bucks. And these are actually pretty good drill bits. Unlike the Harbor Freight supposedly good, these are good don't even waste your money. They are just, if you're drilling wood maybe. If you're going to drill metal, don't waste your money on those. Get better bits. Drilling wood, they're probably fine. Anyway, I'm going to show you what I'm doing next. I'm going to work on these panels over here, work on wiring them up. They've been sitting up there doing nothing all these months. And I have some old batteries. I'm going to hook them to a good solar charger and see if I can get them to take a charge from the panels. And I do have a good set of batteries too, but I'm going to try to charge my old ones first. And the angle's wrong on those. So that's the summertime angle. It's like 30 degrees and it's you moving up to like 68 or something like that. I'll have to look it up. Anyway, I had it all figured out, but I forget. I just changed those little posts out, or I add an extension or whatever it is. I think I add an extension in there and push the panels up where they're tilted more towards the sun this time of year. Because we're getting into the equinox. The solstice, I should have already done that. Now, when I'm considering how to wire these things up, first of all, you should know that these 320 watt panels, I looked at the amount of amperage is about 9.6 amps per panel. That helps me with my wire size. I know that it's an easy way to remember. 20 amp circuit in your house, which is the one for like outlets, receptacles, plug-ins. Most of those are 20 amp circuits, 20 amp breakers, and that's 12. You can run 12 and you can put up to, depending on your code in different areas, anywhere from 8 to 12 probably, maybe 6. I don't know, it just depends on your local thing. But I think around here you can run up to 10 in one circuit. On one circuit breaker, 10 outlets, 20 amp circuit. Anyway, to say that, I just know that if it's 20 amps, I can use 12 gauge. And these are 12 gauge. I looked them up. I don't know if you can see it, but this is 12 gauge PV wire coming off of these. Photovoltaic rated. They're outdoor rated, so they'll last, and you can even bury them, I think. But it's not waterproof. But you put waterproof connectors. I don't know if the cable is actually considered submersible or not, but it's definitely suitable for using out in the weather. That being said, I was looking at the pigtails. You have these MC4 connectors. And to get these connected together, you got to buy Ys. If you're going to do like wire two together in different ways, you can wire them in series or parallel. If you wire them in series, you would hook a positive to a negative, positive to a negative, and then your one positive and your one negative coming off those panels, you would just wire those in, and now you would have 48 volts. But I'm not going to do 48 volts, not at this time anyway. I'm going to stick with 24 volts. So I'll wire them in series, which means all of your positives go together and all your negatives go together. You keep the same voltage, but you double your amperage. So if that's 9.5 and that's 9.5 amps, I put those together, positives and negatives together. That's going to be 24 volts at, now it's going to be like 19 amps. And then if I take another two that are wired together and then combine, yeah, I'm going to keep it all 24 volts. So I'm just running them all together basically. I'm going to hook all four of these panels together, all positives and negatives together. I'm not trying to push it up to 48. I'm trying to keep it at 24, which is what the panels are. They come off at 24. 9.5 amps at 24 volts per thing. That to say is when I get them all put together, that's going to be about 40 amps. Now you're getting into the range of like number 8 or something. So I am going to use number 8, and I'm not going to buy the little Y connectors. What I'm going to do is I do have the MC4 connectors, just the plain ones. I'm going to go ahead and jump this up to 10 gauge, and I'm going to hook them all together with 10 gauge, and then down at the far end there I'm going to use 8, which I have a roll of 8. I'll just mark one as negative, one as positive with the colored tape. But the point is it's not PV rated. I'm going to run them inside the greenhouse. See all this extra I got hanging here? I'm going to disassemble this little back part. You see how I got these pieces of metal fitted on there? It would be the equivalent of a soffit and a fascia, kind of rolled into one thing here. Anyway, I'm going to just take it loose, pop some holes in there, put some grommets of some sort in there, and run these outdoor rated wires in there, and then I'm going to run regular indoor rated wire. Just a piece of Romex in there, and then I'm just going to use wire connectors and just wire them together instead of trying to get all fancy with all those Ys and 4-ways and all that stuff you got to buy for and those things is I'm going to have to wait on them because this time of year before Christmas they're going to take forever to get here, and they're pricey. You can do it with just a few wire nuts, And I'm going to call that indoor because it's going to be tucked away back under there. If I wanted to get fancy, I'd put it in a piece of conduit, but I don't really think I'm going to need it. I'm just going to put regular indoor wire, and I already own all that. So I got little pieces of 10. I got a whole roll of 8. So I'm going to get inside there and just run all that underneath, and then it'll go down inside the greenhouse, over past that peak, over into the other room. That's where I'm going to kick in the 8. And that 8 will run from the end of these. I'm going to actually put one more panel on. Because it doesn't get much in the summer because of the trees, but in the winter, man, it'll be good to be there. So at least half the year, and especially if I break the panels out into different circuits, where if I have a bad circuit, it doesn't affect the other ones, doesn't drag it down when it gets shade on it. I'm probably going to just run 2 panels, 2 panels, and 2 panels, all the separate circuits, because I don't really want to get a big inverter or anything. Well, I guess it doesn't matter. I can run it all in one circuit to the battery, to the solar charger. It's the inverter that I would have to, anyway, I'm thinking out loud, sorry. I'll just run that number 8 from the end. I'll put one more panel on. I'll make the mounting and show you how I do it. I'll adjust all this, show you how I do that, and then I'll wire it up in that other room where I can get that deep freezer hooked up. So I'm going to be leaving to drop off those heads in an hour or 2, or that head in an hour or 2. So I'm just going to mess around with wiring this up, and I'll show you some videos. But anyway, if you can manage to run indoor wire, you can save a lot of money on connectors and on wire itself, because you can just get it at Lowe's or Home Depot or whatever, and then just use regular TNN indoor, stranded wire, even solid wire, whatever you got. You can just use Romex, just regular old Romex, which I think it's a good money-saving tip. Anyway, I'll show you some updates when I get to work. Anyway, I wanted to share a quick tip with you. I am forever and always losing my 1/4-inch nut driver. So, Harbor Freight, you can get a whole set for less than buying just one, and they do pretty well. I don't wear them out, I lose them. So I'm going to start buying these cheap ones, and I already have a pile of 3/8 and 5/16 nut drivers, but oh well. And this 1/4-inch, it is magnetic, which is going to be helpful. I'm going to need this to take apart that soffit over there. Anyway, this is how I started doing it. I just buy a number of these, and if I lose it, I just open another package. I have another 1/4-inch. Always losing those things. Terrible. I would love to wear one out. I think I've actually worn one out before, but it's not usually the thing.